Hello and welcome to The Print. I am Sumi Sukanya Dutta and you are watching Health in You. The Central Board of Secondary Education or CBSE recently asked all its affiliated schools to displace sugar boards. On this board, schools are advised to display all the information related to the risks attached with excessive intake of sugar. To discuss what this move means, how it can help, we have two very important guests from nutrition research field. We have with us Dr. Seema Gulati and Dr. Suparna Ghosh. Dr. Gulati is the head of nutrition research group with the National Diabetes, Obesity and Cholesterol Foundation, and Dr. Ghosh is nutrition researcher with the George Institute of Global Health in New Delhi. Thank you so much, Dr. Gulati and Dr. Ghosh, for joining us today. Dr. Gulati, can you
Pleasure
first
to
talk
yeah.
Can you first talk about how the sugar crisis has hit the Indian population? There was a time when a large number of Indian children had this problem of stunting, underweight, which in some parts still persists. But at the same time, we also have a large number of children who have problems really like obesity and other metabolic conditions. How did we reach there, Dr. Gulati?
First of all, I would like to say this sugar crisis is very real and is very deeply concerning in India.
Mhm.
Because if you see over the past few decades, we have witnessed a sharp increase in obesity. We have seen type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, etc. in children. And there's a sharp increase in the consumption of added sugar also, particularly through processed foods like sugary beverages and packaged snacks, etc. So this shift in the dietary pattern has paralleled the increase in obesity and related metabolic problems. So India is now known as the diabetic capital of the world, and the sad part is that half of us don't even know that we have diabetes. They are undiagnosed cases also.
Mhm.
So it's basically because now you have, say, trans-nutritional food joints, all kinds of cuisines and all kinds of packaged foods are available. There is a vast availability, and that too at cheaper price. And it's fancy also, because of social media, different kind of advertisements, which can lure young children. So there are multiple factors. There's lack of awareness, and even if say people are aware, they don't have, there's time poverty, I would say, lack of time to go for healthier choices. So there are multiple factors. There's rapid urbanization in India, and we are going through nutritional transition, and we have increased availability of packaged and processed foods, and that too at cheaper price. All these factors are leading to increasing consumption of sugar and obesity and related problems. Yeah.
Dr. Ghosh, while we understand that sugar is bad for anyone and everyone, is there some evidence to suggest that for growing children in particular, this may have larger or more harmful sort of impact? What is our understanding of sugar on growing children?
Okay. So, sugar, as we all know, is a kind of carbohydrate. It's a simple carbohydrate. It's metabolized in the body. Body needs energy. But when we talk about sugars, these are free calories, and in the form which these sugars are coming, if we are talking about free sugars, for example, or the sugar sweetened beverages, they are just coming as junk packets of calories which are going into our system. And if we are exposing this risk factor to children, for example, but the story actually begins way before that. It's the palate of the children. If they are getting used to this free sugar, what happens? So it is a behavioral issue as well as a physiological issue. Behavioral issue in the sense our palate, how we develop our palate since childhood, is that when we are exposing the palate to too much of sugar, that in itself has a health connotation. So the children, after having so much of free sugar, are getting extra sources of energy which are easily assimilated in the body, if I may say so. And then it is leading to what? this extra calorie is utilized fast and the child is again feeling hungry. So our hunger centers, the children's hunger pangs are also changing. The modality of those are also changing. So what is happening is the child is asking for more and more food because the sugar is getting absorbed quickly, and again he is hungry. His behavior is changing. He's getting cranky when he has those hunger pangs. When he's having the sugar, he's hyperactive. So there is a behavioral connotation, and then there is a physiological. So high sugar is definitely a risk factor, a metabolic risk factor within the body, wherein the body is this extra sugar is actually affecting different systems of the body, be it immunity, be it muscle protein of the heart muscles, or be it within the womb. If the mother is consuming too much of sugar, the baby's, the way the baby sort of uses his muscle power, that studies have also shown that that changes. So the exposure of excess sugar becomes a risk factor for not only the immediate problem of developing extra weight because the child is eating more, but also leading to other problems in the later stages of life, like more children are getting pre-diabetic. There is a relationship between hypertension and excessive sugar in the diet. Cardiovascular disease risk factors increase with excessive sugar because sugar has a relationship with triglycerides. Sugar has a relationship with the different lipoproteins within the body, how fats are mobilized within the body. Sugar can actually alter that system. So it actually changes the metabolism in the body. So a child who is exposed to too much of sugar, which becomes a habit then, and these are hyperpalatable foods, overall there is a behavioral change and there are physiological change which makes the child or predisposes the child to develop chronic degenerative diseases in future, and the risk factors of chronic degenerative diseases like hypertension, like obesity, like being overweight, and other factors. So yes, these are some proven things which we are seeing.
Yeah, very important information there. Dr. Gulati, could you please now explain, because how do you see this move by the CBSE, especially in the context where we are seeing not only in CBSE schools, any school you go to, there is school canteen, all sort of unhealthy foods are being sold there, and children who don't know are, really consuming them. Parents are also unaware in most cases. In that context, do you think it's got a lot of traction, at least CBSE or some educational board or schools are talking about it now? Do you see it really making an impact in the coming days?
Yeah. First of all, I would welcome this step, this initiative by CBSE. All these small initiatives and these efforts, will go a long way. But then we have to realize this is just one step, right? I mean, there has to be a comprehensive, holistic approach for, if we really want to curb the problem of obesity and this excess consumption of sugar, etc. We have to It has to be along with the lot many other things, like, of course, this sugar board, when your children are writing the say sugar content of different processed foods, etc. It is educating children, and if they learn it young, and we know that old habits die hard. When they are young, we are training them, we are educating them. This is a very good thing. And then similarly, there should be efforts to educate parents, teachers, even the school staff. And just education is not going to help, right? The implementation is also very important. From every direction, if you are educating children, but if in the school canteens you are selling, again, high sugar beverages, or the snacks or packaged foods, then the whole exercise is futile, right? So it has to be, along with sugar boards, which is definitely a welcome step. Along with this, there should be, other efforts, like, there should be strict regulation of the food environment in the schools. Not no junk food within the vicinity, 5 kilometers or so, should be allowed to be sold. And there has to be promotion of daily physical activity. Diet is one thing, definitely, but what we see, that games period or PT period is
I
just an
should
extra.
some- yeah.
It's extra period. Teachers would take extra classes or something like that. It has to be very diligently followed. Physical activity means physical activity. And then there should be zero tolerance for tobacco, alcohol, all these things very important. Children should be educated for these habits, these behavioral habits also. And then parental and teacher engagement is again very important. You should sometimes, you are okay, suppose you are not selling all these junk foods in the school, but parents are only giving, you tell them there are schools which will give you, weekly menu, that okay, you have to get idlis on say certain days and some chapati or vegetable on other day. So what mothers will do, they will get ready to eat idlis and give it to children. you know so they're very important what children are bringing in tiffin also. So there has to be parental engagement as well. So all these, and then there should be monitoring and evaluation from time to time, what children are eating. And certain quizzes can be organized, certain activities can be organized in the school to further reinforce these messages or this awareness. And so there's a need for multi-pronged approach. This is from all directions. But while this sugar board initiative is really commendable, it's a step towards enhancing nutritional awareness and among school children. Its success will largely depend on comprehensive implementation and active participation from entire school community, including educators, parents, and then policymakers also. And then industry can also be, in the long run, say, there is a market for people who want ready-made healthier alternatives, but then healthier alternatives are not available. you know
Yeah.
so all, and children can be taught right from the beginning, to read labels, food labels. All these habits will go a long way and will deliver the desired results. So but still I would welcome this initiative. At least something is being done, at least there is attention being paid to this issue. So
Very important messages there again. Dr. Ghosh, could you please talk about, in India, we have a rich culture of rich food culture as well. We have, cuisines and recipes which we have been passed on since generations in every region, every state of the country. Yet we have come to this stage where we are right now, where, food, more and more people are opting for ultra processed food, food from outside. All these food apps have become a sort of necessity in our lives. How do you advise people now, especially children, adolescents, to go back to the roots and sort of opt for healthier choices?
Yeah, I'm. Thanks for this question, because I'm a great advocate of going back to our roots and going back to our traditional diets, cuisines, our indigenous cuisines, and all. And this information or this awareness or this knowledge is rapidly diminishing. It is this treasure trove of information is just going with generations. And one of the reasons, as Dr. Gulati has rightly pointed out, is nutrition transition. So, because of urbanization, because of globalization, lot of information is available. And how can we make our traditions, our cuisines aspirational? This is the biggest challenge we have. And to answer this challenge, we have to make our children proud of their culture. So the school environment, number one, as the food environment, as Dr. Gulati is also telling, that the school food environment is not actually promoting it. Several of the schools, they are doing, but not all, that is actually promoting food from home. The mothers should be asked to prepare food from scratch and send it to the children. But we also understand that women are participating in the workforce, and we just can't ask them to prepare things from scratch. But in India, we have the privilege of having a support system at the household level, like somebody can come and cook for you. That's a great privilege. So I always say, make your kitchen active, an active part of your household, wherein you have the raw ingredients which are still available. And more and more we are seeing that people are getting conscious and getting food from natural sources to be used at household level. So you have a support system, you have the education to cook your traditional recipes by learning it from your mother. The joint family system has not yet totally gone from our culture. So going back to our roots, learning from our parents, bringing the traditional cuisine on our table again, eating with the family, sending packed lunch from home. These practices are rapidly diminishing. We have to bring back those packages. So, the nutrition literacy that we are talking about, it's a great initiative of starting somewhere. We are starting somewhere, talk about sugar, gradually bring it to nutrition literacy. In nutrition literacy, you talk about foods being consumed at the household level and also making our kitchens active, having natural food as the constitute of our daily meal. All these are very critical. So the education part is important. Making children the ambassadors of the traditional food is important. Parents will listen to their children, but parents are also being exposed through marketing, digital marketing, social media, and others about the harmful things in the name of healthy food, giving ultra processed food as healthy food, counting your calories, but consuming foods which are processed to an extent that they cannot be prepared in the kitchen. I'll again come back to the point that making our kitchens active, getting support to prepare food from scratch, learning the methods of cooking traditional dishes, and making our children the ambassador of traditional cuisines and diets. And have things like in schools, you have competitions, you have contests, you have some norms around the schools. And within the school, create an environment where fresh foods are available more handy as compared to ultra processed and high sugar, salt, and fat foods. Creating an enabling environment, making our kitchens active, and somewhere I feel having following a socio-ecological model where at the center of it is the healthy diet for our children, but it is the parents who need to be educated to provide that healthy diet in the kitchen. Then the school system has to be educated wherein they provide school meals which are natural, diverse, and produced using using traditional cuisines, and the policies around creating an enabling food environment and taxing of ultra processed foods, making traditional foods more affordable is something which we need to follow. A more holistic approach, as Dr. Gulati has already pointed out, is going to help children go back to their roots. I'll stop here.
You spoke about
So,
nutrition literacy and going to the roots, going back to traditional foods when it comes to it. It's that really important. But what we say is, see, actually, Dr. Gulati also earlier pointed out about how we see the constant bombardment of advertisements related to ultra processed food, which is just targeted at children sometimes who are more vulnerable to falling for these kind of food items. That's something that's become a sort of norm in our lives now. Do you think at the policy level, Dr. Gulati, there are some things that need to change as well when it comes to probably our food regulator, FSSAI in India's case, should be more proactive in
Yes,
ensuring that these things are stopped, and also we should ensure that food items which are healthier, fruits, vegetables, fruits sometimes are more expensive than the chips and
exactly.
snacks.
Exactly.
So
Mm,
we should take measures
mm.
also to ensure that people who can actually afford them. So what would you say about that?
Exactly. As I mentioned, front of the pack labeling, which, FSSAI is already working on. So, at policy level, it should be made mandatory, to list out all the ingredients. For example, recently, the juices are sold like 100%, pure juice, whereas these are just, decoctions, concentrates, and then, they are diluted and then these are sent. And now FSSAI has recently been successful in, getting that 100% removed. So, similar policies are very much required for front of the pack labeling, and children should be encouraged to read labels. It should come from these habits will percolate from parents, from teachers. If parents are reading labels before buying, then this habit will go to children also. Parents have to be role model for their children, and teachers also. So one thing is front of the pack labeling. Then second, as has been mentioned by Suparna, that taxation, it is very, very important. Taxation, increasing taxation on, say, sugar, sweetened beverages, or junk food can, decrease the, prevalence of diabetes and related disorders. In fact, there is a simulation analysis by Basu, and he has shown that, if just 2% tax is increased, how it can lead to decrease in the prevalence of diabetes. So we have example from countries like Chile and Mexico, where when taxation is increased, the consumption went down of junk food and sugar sweetened beverages particularly. So at policy level, one is front of the pack labeling, second is increasing taxation, and third is, in the curriculum, like, in the school curriculum itself, right from the beginning, there should be a chapter, of on healthy eating, nutrition, and aggressively, it should be communicated to children, yeah. And then, at policy level, again, schools can be encouraged to, as has been mentioned, to hold contests from time to time on healthy eating, where, children, learn in a play way, how to cook, maybe, fireless cooking or something like that. And then there can be community nutrition hubs, right? What Because, as you mentioned, that traditional knowledge is getting lost. There can be, some small activities like this, where people can be taught about healthier cooking habits, and it can be organized by, it can be facilitated by government, and can be organized by, some local communities, local societies, etc. So anyhow, there should be, and decreasing taxation on healthier foods. If you see the policy now, the taxation on nuts has been increased. So if on healthier items, taxes are relaxed, and on unhealthier items, taxes are increased, that can be really helpful at policy level. And there should be some regulation on advertisements as well. Everything is being shown. I mean, children have access to everything, and this is impressionable age, and they are watching all these celebrities endorsing, Coke or something, sweetened beverages. So there has to be some regulation somewhere. It cannot be just freely available to small children. So at policy level, we have to start small, and see these small changes will go a long way. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, before we wrap up this conversation, quick points I would like both of you to share for people watching this show, parents watching this show, on what they can do to ensure the risk of metabolic diseases and things like obesity. Dr. Suparna, would you like to start with this?
Okay, some quick points will be that, as again, I would like to reiterate what Dr. Gulati has just said. Be the role model for your children. If you are doing something wrong, don't expect your child to just change all of a sudden. So, being a role model means that even if you are a working mom, you have to find out ways to give a healthy food, or not just some packages packed within the tiffin box and sent to to your child. Of course, make your kitchen active. That is very important. We need to have policies. So, this is a point from the other perspective, like creating an enabling environment. Policies should be that during the watching hours, when children are engaging with television, there should be ban of certain advertisements. And with the IMS Act and all, we have seen that we don't see these infant formulas being advertised at all. Similar things should be done for all kinds of packaged foods. And unfortunately, we are the dumping ground for all the unhealthy packaged food. Their compositions are changed and are dumped into our country, as we have seen with some of the formulas. And also, if you see presence of palm oil in some of the packaged food, the same packaged food sold in another part of the world doesn't have palm oil, but it is there with us. So we need to have strong regulations which should be voluntary as well as mandatory for the food industry to provide healthier alternatives for us, focusing more on making perishable foods more available to us with minimal processing as compared to ultra processing and changing the entire composition of the food. So a big ban on these ultra processing of products, but rather incentivizing industries to provide fresh foods with minimal processing to our community so that perishable foods are more affordable, and being a role model to their children and creating an enabling environment within the school. The teachers have a very important responsibilities to inform their children, make food an aspirational topic, make traditional food an aspirational topic of discussion within the school.
Yeah, Dr. Gulati, would you also like to say something to this?
So much has been covered by Suparna. The point has been nicely related. I would like to just, add a couple of points that it's about food. It's not just about nutrients. We have to remember that. And it's about healthy habits right from the beginning. It's about home culture. It's about hands-on learning, you know. Uh, Even, as has been mentioned that, we are fortunate, in our country we can hire help for cooking. Okay, very good. But, in certain section of the society this may not be feasible. They are on the go. In that case, the whole family, should be involved in cooking and arranging for food. It's not solely women's responsibility. It's entire house for, responsibility, and children can be actively involved in these activities. And then it's our, responsibility to raise a generation that's not just taller and smarter, but healthier and more mindful about what goes into their plate. It has to be a mix of awareness. It has to be, from policy level. There should be regulation on the sale of all these unhealthy food items. There has to be adequate taxation. Then there has to be, community involvement, where, community is coming together and organizing, say, salad competition or something like that, where, they can teach each other and educate children as well. So it has to be a comprehensive collective effort if we really want to see a change in the health scenario of our future generation, and of course adults also. Yeah.
Yeah, we are what we eat. We have heard this for a long time. No better time than now, probably, to remind ourselves of this and reinforce this thought. We are what we eat. Thank you so much, Dr. Gulati and Dr. Ghosh, for joining in this very important conversation. Really appreciate that both of you could take out time for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here.
Thank you.